Hello, this is Mantra from Vidya Gamers, and this is the Great Wolf Sith fight. You can't see the wolf yet, but you will be seeing him shortly. He comes out in a fairly neat cinematic after you touch that sword in the center of this area. So, yeah, we'll just wait for that to happen, I guess. The Sith fight is not particularly difficult except for one attack he has that can be very frustrating, especially if he continues to spam it because there's not really much you can do then. And that attack is one that I'll comment on more when we see it, but it's basically one where he does this giant spinning arc and it breaks through almost any amount of endurance to do a ton of damage to you. So, yeah, it's a giant wolf holding a sword in his mouth, I mean, that's, don't really get much cooler than that. So, there you can see me getting caught off guard by his charge. He has a fairly simple group of combos he'll do with the sword in his mouth, and those really aren't the primary problem. He'll also do this weird sort of walking around in circles thing every once in a while, sometimes for very long periods of time. So I don't really know why he does that, but you can use this as an opportunity to hit him. He'll do a lot of leaping around. He'll almost always do 3 leaps, so he'll leap over next to you, or rather 2 leaps, so he'll leap over next to you and then he'll leap away, so it's not really a great idea to try and hit him. There you can see the sort of the sweeping, swirling arc attack, whatever the heck you want to call that, a whirlwind thing, basically. And if you get hit by that, you're probably going to take a lot of damage. We barely managed to block it with completely full endurance bar, so we're going to get smashed here, and it does a lot of damage, as you can see. Basically what you want to do is just to aim to get underneath him and then keep stabbing him. The targeting lock-on will be crazy throughout this entire fight, pretty much, because he moves around so much. But, you know, that shouldn't be a problem for most of you, and it shouldn't really prevent you from killing him, unless you're using a halberd like we are, in which case that can really be a problem. But thankfully we have a lot of life and a lot of endurance and a lot of patience, so that didn't prove to be an obstacle to us. For us. So he'll leap around a lot like this, which doesn't really mean much. He'll do these things where he'll just either run up and do the whirlwind attack, or he'll run up and do this very quick leaping back attack, and you don't want to fall for either of those, so I would recommend keeping your shield up at all times because he can be a little bit tricky with his attack patterns. The most basic of his attacks is a 2 or 3 hit combo, depending on what he chooses to do, where he'll swing it to the left, and then sometimes to the right, and then he'll do a strike where he holds it up and then smashes downwards, and that's really not a problem at all for almost anybody to dodge. You basically dodge it by running between his legs. And you don't want to get caught running at him when he's doing the whirlwind attack. You want to try getting back as much as possible, and with the flip ring, that's quite possible if you catch it in time. You can use the big old stone thing in the center of this area to block Sif to heal if you want to. That's quite easy to do, really. And yeah, don't want to get caught off guard here. You don't want to get caught running towards him or anywhere that isn't very far away from him so you can avoid his attacks, or right underneath him so he can't hit you with them anyway. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a single attack actually that can hit you when you're right directly beneath him. So, you know, that's pretty much where you want to be. It's actually somewhat reminiscent of the Ornstein fight in that regard, the Phase 2 Ornstein, the Ornstein and Smog. So, yeah, if you're anywhere not directly beneath him, you're probably going to be getting hit with some attacks, and some of them don't do very much. Others, like the Whirlwind, can really just murder you. And as you can see there, he lowered his head, so I couldn't get between his legs, and as a result, I got murdered by it. And yeah, I'm very lucky not to have been killed right there, actually, because I didn't heal. So I'm going to try using the statue to my benefit again here, and I'm going to be using my healing miracles, very useful things. And yeah, so just be careful. Whenever he gets close, have your shield up. Watch out for some of his faster attacks. Don't get caught by the whirlwinds, and that's really his most dangerous attack of the entire fight. One thing I have heard, actually, although I've never done it myself, is that you can spare him in this fight. I'm not sure quite what the particulars of that are, and you know, I haven't confirmed it for myself by doing it, and we just decided to kill him in this playthrough. But apparently doing so allows you to get that sword in some capacity, and you can upgrade it and whatnot. And I'm pretty sure you can just make the Sword of Artorias, that's the guy whose grave is here that this wolf is protecting, and the sword he's wielding, I believe, is from that guy. You can get it just by getting a +10 sword of, I think it's the sword hilt you start the game out with, actually, and using the soul you get from defeating him in combination with that to make a weapon, similar to how you get Quelaag's sword, for example, or Ornstein's spear. But yeah, apparently there's some sort of special thing you can do where you spare this wolf. So if you're interested in that or feel sorry for the wolf, then there you go. You might want to look that up or try to do it yourself. Yeah. So aside from that, this is a not incredibly hard fight if you do it properly. We were a little bit reckless this time through, largely because we had a lot of life and a lot of endurance. But even so, as you can see, even with our massive amounts of life and endurance, he can do a lot of damage. One very important thing about the Great Wolf Sif fight is the fact that he drops a ring that allows you to do something called Abyss Walking, which will allow you to fight the Four Kings. Without that ring, you just can't fight them. You'll die instantaneously after you jump down into the abyss where they are. So that's what makes this fight very important, and you have to do it before fighting Four Kings.